that when you get your dog fixed, you actually limit his functionality.
But you are fixing the problem of the dog having that functionality.
But you don't say, get your dog's problem fixed. You say, get your dog fixed.
What?
Wow, that is some pretty spectacular... that is some pretty spectacular kudo sponsorship of the WAN Show.
I was on their network before. I didn't like it. So
I guess there's
screw
that.
you guys. Anyways.
Not enough to actually do anything about it. It's not until I started paying your phone bill that you're like moving up to like
No. I wasn't on Kudo then.
A real carrier. Oh no, you were on Telus at that point,
yeah.
Which is just kudos.
Their service was fine because Kudo's service was fine.
And at least Telus doesn't steal your information and sell it that we know of yet.
So they probably do.
Welcome to the WAN Show!
Yeah!
Woo!
Whoa!
The WAN Show, where I realized I was wearing my Squarespace shirt and today wasn't. You know, every time up until now,
They've
when
actually
I've
been a sponsor.
happened to be wearing my Squarespace shirt, they've been a sponsor. And so today it felt a little weird to be wearing my Squarespace shirt and not actually have them be a sponsor. So I actually threw on a shirt from one of our other sponsors today. But first, we have some topic call-outs. So Windows 10 versions have been revealed. That was versions, not virgins. The Oculus Rift CV1 has been revealed. Oh, I should have left that one for you.
No, it's okay. There's actually not a ton of information in that we didn't already know.
There's
but there is some things that
some
are
stuff.
very cool that we'll talk about in depth. Anyways, FTC rules in favor of direct-to-consumer car sales. It's not the end of the whole equation, but we'll talk about that later.
It's your birthday. Elon Musk.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not today.
Anyways, self-driving cars don't crash.
Unless
apparently
other people crash into them.
Yeah. That's...
Which is a crash.
Yes, technically. So they actually do crash. They just don't cause the crash.
Brandon Lee, can you close the door? And all of you viewers, can you hang on for a minute while we roll the intro? Do I need to ask their permission to roll our intro?
Yes.
No. We have sponsors today.
Linda!
We really need to get that fixed,
Linda! Man. Take a lynda.com course to show you how to fix our intro, because ours sucks, and you can do it for us.
Yeah, they have Photoshop tutorials.
They do. Freshbooks!
Wait a minute, is that right? Yeah,
no,
that's right. That's not right. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah!
And Loot Crate!
Yeah!
Save 10% with offer code Linus. You know what I should do? I'm going to put this back at the top.
So you could learn skills.
Proactively this time.
Wow.
See that? Every time we switch to that scene.
The problem is, though, that it's just not going to work.
It might. Hold on.
But we have to wait for the end of the show.
Yeah, that's true. We'll wait till the end.
So you could learn skills with lynda.com, manage your business with Freshbooks, and then spend your money on buying Loot Crate stuff because it's cool.
People are refusing to help us with it. And they're saying buckets, by the way. So it was true.
Yes.
It happened. It happened. Yes. The buckets are real. All right, so let's go ahead and let's move right into our first topic, actually.
Okay, we need to cover these build logs.
Oh, are there build logs?
There have been build logs for like 3 weeks. And
wow.
we just keep on just going right over top of them straight to the topics.
Your level of incompetence is inspiring.
But it's always been right there.
I did not...
You always pick the first topic and you always scroll right over it.
I did not see them.
For 3 weeks.
That is most excellent, sir.
That's amazing.
All right, so the first one we've got is Loramentum.
This is the voters' pick.
All right.
Loramentum. This is the voters' pick.
The voters picked it. Kind of like their noses.
Oh.
It's okay to pick your nose. Sometimes you get like paint in there.
Paint.
And crayons. Alright, so let's go ahead. Lots of water cooling, a 4770K, a Z87i Pro, 16 gigs of Dominator Platinum memory, an R9 290 graphics card, and ooh, that is looking good already. Yes. Nice small ITX board. You got the graphics card presumably laid out somewhere where we're going to get a PCI Express extension going on.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. A triple radiator. Totally flat build. I'm liking it. I'm kind of into that. You can ask my wife. So we've got a nice big reservoir, Samsung SSD. I am loving the color coordination here. A big part of the idea for this is a LAN rig, so you can take it to a LAN and have it look super cool. That is really cool. It doesn't take up a lot of space, and you can kind of pick the whole thing up like a picture frame almost. And especially at a LAN, if you could just put this like behind your monitor or even beside your monitor, you're going to save a lot of space compared to a giant tower. Look at that. Cable management on the back is almost as good as the front. That is outstanding. Really cool. All right, so let's do our second, and this was the staff pick, if I recall correctly. Oh, balls. Yep. This is the NVMe-K2. Which borrowed inspiration from Charles, at least as far as the name was concerned. But I'm not guessing. The loading of the website, which is still going. Yeah, this website doesn't load very quickly. Although it works, unlike the old system. So the mods picked this one. It's by Pokemon Kid. Here's some progress shots. I love this. This is like the technique for leak testing your loop. Get that paper towel in there and make sure that she ain't leaking. All right, Case Labs Mercury S8, 2 GTX 770s, 1200 I power supply, 4770K processor, and water cooling. Some more in progress shots. Liking that reservoir placement. Parts. Look at that. It's like all water cooling. There's actually more water cooling than case. Yeah. You know a build is going to be good when it starts like, ooh, that's sick. I had already seen these. I snuck ahead. That is absolutely disgusting. I love it. In a good way. Yeah, that is a really tight build. It looks like extremely attractive vile virus. Yeah. I am really liking that. One of the challenges when you place your reservoir horizontally like this is keeping the air from getting sucked back in the one side. So I'm guessing he's probably, or she has probably had to do something about flow rates to keep them from actually being too high, to keep that from being an issue. Mind you, it looks like the system's actually powered off right now because there's no way that would be just kind of sitting there like that if the system was actually on. So very, very nice little rig. All right, so why don't we move into our first topic of the day. AMD does not want to be known as the cheaper solution anymore. And the original poster here is Zapian, and the original article here is from Ars Technica. This was supposed to be covered last week, for those of you that may be confused. Actually, we missed a couple AMD things last week. So they launched a new APU. It's totally unexceptional. It's actually really funny. I was saying on Twitter that that I didn't have... what was it? I tweeted about why... Someone accused us of only covering Intel. And I kind of went, well, we cover AMD graphics cards. In fact, we went as far as to borrow an R9 295X2. Back when we had to borrow a fair number of them. No, I think that's the only one we had to... Oh, we had to borrow a low-end card once. I think we borrowed 2. And the one that came in the case, but not the most recent one. Yeah, that was the one we borrowed. Oh, there's one more. We only had it... I think we borrowed it from NCIX. Oh, the 6990, way back in the day. So there's a few. All right, so there's a few that we've had to borrow. And I was like, okay, so like that's pretty much it. I mean, are we supposed to do reviews of R9 280Xs all day? They're 7970s. There's nothing different about them. Yeah, we've been doing the same review for years. Exactly. So what's the point? And as far as the CPU side goes, I said something along the lines of they haven't released a new performance CPU in like 3 years. And I was estimating. I think it's been longer than that. So I had a couple people kind of give me crap, including my buddy over at Anantech, Ian Cuttress, who was like, well, actually, I'm finishing up on an AMD APU review right now, along with some new testing methodology. It's actually a really interesting article because he tries to take a bit of a different approach to the way that he's benchmarking the chip. And get a more complete picture. So you guys can check that out there, the A8 7650K APU review. But I would point out to Dr. Ian Cuttress that that's an APU review. And I specifically said AMD hasn't released a new interesting CPU in quite some time. So, ba-bam! I also got an email actually from one of AMD's marketing folks, kind of asking if I needed the hookup to get this thing, and I kind of went, actually, it's okay. I'm going to read Dr. Cuttress's review, and then I'm going to find out if we should be making a bunch of videos about this, and it turns out that it is, once again, not exceptional. Great performance with onboard graphics. APUs from AMD are great for entry-level gaming. Also, they're a good value at the low end because they're cheaper, and they perform okay. So let's go back to that Ars Technica article here. AMD doesn't want to be known as the cheaper solution. We'll refocus on performance, which really raises the question, did they ever de-emphasize performance?
It never felt like it. The community kind of did in their direction.
They did stop developing CPUs. They did shift their strategy towards APUs, which we knew were going to be on a lower end socket. They were going to have fewer cores. But did they do that because they wanted to, or did they do that because they couldn't build a competitive CPU for years to the point where they weren't making enough margin on them and they needed to find a different way to compete, and implementing the graphics IP that they acquired and have continued to develop since the ATI acquisition was the way that they were able to make something that fits in a socket that's competitive in some meaningful way. I mean, I'm glad to hear them say this, but the thing that frustrates me, and this is a story that I've never told publicly, is it goes all the way back to the launch of the Phenom, whatever it was, 920 and 940. So this is how far this goes back. Was that the Phenom 1 or was that Phenom 2? Phenom 920. I think that was the original. No, that's a Phenom. Phenom 2 is a 920. What were the original Phenom 1s?
There you go.
Phenom, AMD Phenom. Okay, well, the 920 and 940 were one of them. 8000 series. Hold on. I'm going somewhere important with this. Phenom X4.
I'm just fascinated at how long you can delay a sentence, essentially.
Oh, thank you.
It's quite good.
List of AMD Phenom microprocessors. Here we go.
You're getting there.
I'm on the Wikipedia right now, you guys. I am like learning some stuff, like
live research. We should have a camera over your shoulder.
Mid-flight here.
Luke's
okay,
eye view.
So yes, that was the one that I was super butthurt about, was the 920 and the 940. Because, and it was probably the fault of like our AMD sales guy. I was working at NCIX at the time, so I didn't have like a PR contact. I just had like a sales guy who was like, yeah, we're going to reinvigorate the sales. It's going to be awesome. So in those days, I don't even think, no, I wasn't making videos yet, but I would still, because I was in charge of system building stuff at NCIX, I would still get my hands on all the cool stuff, and I would like validate it, right? Like I would tinker with it and I'd be like, oh yeah, is this like really good? Is this really fast? How high can we overclock it? Whatever else. And I would sometimes post articles on Hardware Canucks, for example, just as a guest writer. And so I took home the 920 and the 940 and I ended up pulling an all-nighter because I ran them through the paces, and at that time it would have been up against what, the E6600 or Q6600 or whatever was the relevant Intel stuff in those days. And it was like terrible, and I couldn't overclock it worth a damn, and I was like, oh no, I must be doing something wrong. It's already 1 a.m. I can't even call anyone and ask for help, and the embargo's in the morning, and I want to submit this for Hardware Canucks because I've got access to this hardware, and the embargo's coming up, and it's like I tested, and in the morning I got up, and everyone else's review went up, and the thing didn't perform very well. And I was like, I sat here trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. I tried every memory setting. I tried every CPU setting. And it turned out that it just wasn't very good. And so
I want someone to log how many times he's told that story on stream.
I don't think I have told that story before on stream.
You have.
Oh, well, whatever. I don't care.
At least your third.
I don't care.
You're turning into like the old man. Every time you see him, he tells the same story.
Wow.
Hey, Linus. Do you remember that story about that old phenom that sales guy told you some stuff about? Well, back in the day, he told me it was going to be one heck of a ripper. And I took it home, and I tried, and I just couldn't get it to go. So finally, I went to bed and woke up in the morning, and then everybody else couldn't get it to go, and I was upset. It was disappointing.
So anyway, the point of the story is AMD has told me, whether it was an individual's fault or company messaging or whatever else, that they're going to build a high-performance CPU for a long time. And they haven't done it, so I'm just a little jaded. And I want Zen to be awesome.
Yeah.
I do.
I completely agree.
If Zen is awesome, I win because I get to make videos about
if
something
Zen is
cool.
awesome, everyone wins.
You guys win because maybe Intel will get the kick in the pants that they need.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that Intel can make a higher performance CPU. Like tomorrow. I'm sure they can make a higher performance consumer CPU. But they don't have to. Instead, they're taking that sort of one-size-fits-all approach where they're going, okay, so let's build like really small CPU cores with lower complexity and let's put like 18 of them under a single chip for servers. Mm-hmm. And then let's put like a couple of them and like a really great graphics core for like notebooks. And then, well, I don't know, maybe the desktop guys, they can like have this one and... So having like a 6970K or a 7970K that just rips would be amazing.
If they release a 6969K, do you think the internet would just explode?
Yes, I do. There is no way a conservative company like Intel would ever do that.
That'd be amazing, though. Anyways, yeah, I really hope Zen's good.
So, at their analyst day, the company said they're no longer competing in a race to the bottom, which is,
Which makes sense, because their process is more expensive to manufacture anyways. So if they're trying to be the cheaper solution while it costs them more money to make it, it's not going to work out very well.
Yep, that's going to be a problem. CEO Dr. Lisa Su says it's extremely important to ensure that we have competitive, high-performance cores. We have reduced our low-end PC exposure. Goes on to state they are an x86 company through and through and will be focusing on their opportunity to lead in that area. And I think it is quite the opportunity. I mean, Intel, for all the innovation that they do, and there's a lot. I mean, stuff like, rapid start technology. The fact that the computer turns on really fast. That doesn't show up on a benchmark score, but it makes the experience of using it better. And that kind of stuff is great. But in terms of raw performance, like single-threaded performance, it's been like that incremental 6 to 8% for like 4 freaking years now, giving AMD, once again, an opportunity to step in and maybe kick some butt. So Zen will be launching first as a new series of FX chips. They're promising a 40% increase in instructions per clock, particularly from switching to a new process node, although they haven't said what it is yet. It's going to have a new socket, AM4, about bloody time, which will introduce DDR4 as well as, hopefully PCI Express 3. They don't even support PCI Express 3 on their current motherboards. Like, AMD knows that their CPU enthusiast platform makes no sense. They know this. They're not even giving us a new chipset to put high performance graphics cards in it, because apparently they don't think it's worth the effort. It's sad, but that's what it is. They even make high performance PCI Express 3.0 graphics cards, and internally, I'm sure someone at some point has put up their hand and gone, hold on a second.
Hey guys, shouldn't you be able to do like the whole solution thing? They're like, nah.
And they try, but it hasn't been a compelling story for a long time. So I'm excited, as excited as I can let myself be, but I just other than saying I really want it to happen, it's not going to be till 2016 either way.
I don't like rumors anyways,
yeah.
Let alone when there's nothing really behind them and it's just someone saying, I want to do this. So
good for you, buddy.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm getting out of this. I'm just going to wait. If it's awesome, then that's super good, and I think it will help all the consumers and the industry as a whole. And if it's not awesome, I won't be that surprised, and that will super suck. Because that would just hurt things.
Yeah.
So much more.
Speaking of things that hurt, this was posted by 907 Rider, and the original source is Lily.camera. Something you would normally think would hurt a camera, just taking it and throwing it, doesn't hurt this bad boy.
Well, we've seen this in certain drones, just not like consumer drones.
This is a pre-order, and we are not suggesting that you pre-order it because...
No.
Oops. There is a lot of room for this thing to totally suck donkey balls.
Oh, yeah.
But these demos that they show are pretty freaking impressive.
So cool.
So basically, you can set it to track. So you throw and it just takes off. and then you can set it to follow or lead a particular subject. So here it is, following this guy.
Yeah.
Man, that's
And
incredible.
you control it with like a thing that you wear. So
Yep.
you tell it to, there's buttons for like, okay, I want it to follow or do whatever.
There's another really cool one where they where is it? Yeah, here we go. So this guy just like hardcore is sitting in his canoe, and you kind of go, oh well, hey, how can you? Just what? Chucks it in takes off from the water. Did you just say amphibious takeoff? Are you freaking for real?
That's pretty freaking cool. I'm assuming it's going to have to be fairly calm. It was pretty calm there and whatnot, but that's still really cool.
That's incredible.
I don't know if I'd bother. I'd probably just throw it up in the air instead of throwing it in the water, but it's cool that it can do that.
So it does 1080p 60 FPS or 720p 120 FPS slow-mo, 12 megapixel stills, has a 20-minute flight time, and they're pitching it as compact enough that you can throw in your backpack and wear the controller on your wrist, which is waterproof as well, and is pretty much off to the races. It's not cheap. I think they want $1,000 for it once it's out, and the pre-order is like $550. But holy smack, that looks awesome.
That looks really, really, really cool. I'm excited for that. That's one that I legitimately think is cool because the lack of setup time. You don't need your phone or anything like that. It's something on your wrist. So the GoProers, like some guy on his mountain bike could just all of a sudden, like, if he strapped it to his back instead of a bag, could just grab it, whip it out forward, and then go, and it's not going to be a big deal. It's the like GoPro catch it as you're going mentality instead of this like, okay, you probably need a dedicated dude controlling the drone and all this kind of crap.
Exactly.
You just be like, follow me, go, and then do whatever you want.
And like Burkle's been showing me some of the, because he's into mountain biking in particular, and he's been showing me some of the techniques involved in getting some of the footage that, as not a filming guy, I just kind of take for granted. Like, oh yeah, the camera followed along the bike. Well, hold on a second, that's actually moving really fast. How are they doing this exactly? And what they'll do is they'll map out a path for the bike and a path for a guy with a freaking gimbal rig to like book it down. Like people could die running alongside these bikes, filming them going down the sides of mountains. Like, this is probably a better solution.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to get that same level of cinematic footage, but for what 99.9% of people are going to be interested in.
And this means that it'll get better.
This looks very cool.
Eventually you'll have better battery life. Eventually you'll get things that will be faster so that they can follow or lead better and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Next up, from Boozoo, the original article here is from Anantech, and Intel has a new lineup of SSDs aimed at data centers coming. These are the S3510, and this is kind of a funny one to me because you look at Intel's push, even on the consumer side, towards NVMe and abandoning the SATA standard, and you kind of go, what's the agenda here? And
I'm not that surprised. Because, okay, to move to NVMe, that's a huge platform change for your entire data center. People are still going to be interested in upgrading their drives without upgrading every single one of their server platforms.
That was what I was going to say, but you did it better, actually.
Oh, I thought you were attacking the idea that it was coming out, and I was like, what? No. It still makes sense.
So this is not a particularly high-performance drive, which is a really interesting thing, and it also features 16nm flash, so this is the first time that Intel has used that Actually, I think that's the first time Intel's used 16nm flash. That's very interesting. So, not particularly amazing performance. Look at those sequential write speeds, particularly at the low-end capacities.
Yeah.
260 megabytes per second. They're not even saturating SATA 3. But what these drives are about is the endurance and the cost. So Intel's trying to deliver something that is validated and reliable and is going to last for a long time, but is going to be cheap for those data centers that are not looking to roll out a whack ton of PCI Express-based SSDs and completely rebuild everything. So these are they are what they are.
Cool.
They support 256-bit encryption. And they include full power loss protection that protects all data, including in-flight user rights in the event of a sudden power loss.
That's pretty cool.
Which is actually funny. Like, it's funny to me. Enterprise SSDs seem to feature this technology more so than consumer-grade SSDs, but consider for a moment that in an enterprise environment, you're going to have battery backups on your controller cards in the event of like a raid or something like that, you're usually going to have, I mean, any decent data center is going to have a battery backup
PC or
per
generator or whatever.
Yeah, like so not necessarily per rack, but there'll be something for each kind of set of systems.
Every big data center I've been to, which isn't a ton, but every big data center I've been to has that like giant generator block just outside the building.
And on top of that, they're going to have backup power for the entire building.
Yeah.
What are the odds of an unexpected power loss? But then again, I mean, I guess
it's still possible.
Layers of protection compared to an end user who's usually not using a UPS.
Who's usually like super screwed in that situation. Oh well.
Crap, I feel like a complete idiot. I completely lost the word for the thing the racks go into while I was trying to do that thing.
The thing the racks go into?
Yeah, the one we have downstairs.
It's just a rack, is it not?
No.
Server rack.
No. A rack is a rack, and then the thing it goes into... God dang it. Why can't I remember this? Now I'm going crazy. I hate cabinet.
Oh.
Jeez. I couldn't find the word for cabinet while I was doing that. I know what a cabinet is.
Are they all technically cabinets?
Not necessarily, but racks go in cabinets.
Yeah, but you can have a rack that isn't a cabinet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because yes, you could just have
you could just
you
have
could
a rack.
just have a rack.
You don't have to have the.
And
cabinet.
you could just have a rack mount thing, and there could be nothing around it.
Yeah.
But no, I was thinking of what they go inside, because on a per cabinet basis, you might have a large UPS unit.
Yeah.
In like the bottom of each one or something along those lines. That's what I was going for. I can't believe I could. I hate it when I can't find the word and I'm live. It drives me crazy.
It's because it's not universal, because you can have just a rack. I don't know. Anyways. Yeah.
Sorry, I had an itch there. The long life of AOL is over. You will never receive another AOL CD in the mail. Original article here is from the Wall Street Journal. Verizon agrees to buy AOL for... No, I'm not subscribing now. Go. There is no exit. Does this come up every time you mouse over it? No, it doesn't. Okay, it goes away. Verizon agrees to buy AOL for $4.4 billion. They are predominantly interested in the technology that AOL has been building for online video ad distribution. It's not like they don't I know. It's not like they don't have other things going on. So subscription business, there's a content business. What content does AOL
I don't know.
exactly?
Who's still doing AOL subscriptions?
I don't know. If you Google this, what does AOL even do? I haven't actually known for years.
Why and how does AOL still exist? The first thing that comes up.
This is great. So let's find out, because I'm genuinely curious. I didn't. I should have done this before the show, but I'm just going to do it now. I saw the financial results for AOL in the business section today, and this is from 2012. And the first thing that came to mind was AOL. Who the heck is using AOL? Posted $577 million in revenue for the fourth quarter of 2011, and blah, 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 blah. Old people and... two answers here reminded me of two reasons why AOL is still alive. Old people and yellow pages piled up in condo basements.
Like
profits
their
were based
website
on...
is not good. And has Google ads on it. What? I thought they were an ad serving platform. There's a Google ad on the freaking AOL website.
So this is still people talking about them as an ISP. Is anyone still on AOL? Let's Strawpoll this.
Yeah.
Strawpoll this. So, are you or do you know anyone?
Someone in the chat just said 2 million dial-up customers.
Okay. Hold on. I want a percentage. Are you or do you know anyone still using AOL? Yes, no, and I guess yogurt would be an excellent
What type of yogurt?
Third choice. Yogurt. I'm going to go with pomegranate.
Cool.
Actually, I might have made that too appealing. Banana. Banana yogurt is awful. Yogurt.
I've never had that. It sounds very bland.
It has that sort of fuzzy taste of banana yogurt.
Okay.
Except it's kind of a slime that you put in your mouth.
I would just eat a banana. I can't say that for all. Like I wouldn't just eat a pomegranate if I wanted pomegranate yogurt, but I would just eat a banana if I wanted banana yogurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Because like it's already a mush.
I know. You chew it one time.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much yogurt.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
So a tiny 15% of you are saying you or someone you know is still using AOL. Wow. So
I think that's mostly going to be dial-up stuff. A bunch of people in the chat said dial-up, and that actually does kind of make sense.
Yeah, that makes a time. Who else are you going to get dial-up from?
I honestly have no idea.
I don't even know of any dial-up providers in BC.
In BC, I'm sure there is, obviously,
like
but
maybe
I don't know of any.
Would TELUS do it?
It's
It's not on their website, at least not prominently.
But then you have to think of like FarmNet.
Oh yeah, no, like I get it. I get that
yeah.
people have it. I just don't know who they're getting it from.
Yeah.
AOL apparently.
AOL owns Engadget? What?
Well, there you go. So that would be the media. That would be the content business.
Yeah.
So there you go. Their current CEO will still be leading AOL's operations, but the acquisition is a done deal. And Verizon said it has plans to launch a video service focused on mobile devices, featuring shorter snippets rather than 30 or 60-minute shows in the summer. I think it's called YouTube, Verizon. I think it exists, but hey.
Shorter snippets, so like everything. YouTube,
There's
Vine.
a smaller, even shorter snippet one, Vine.
Yeah.
Instagram has video.
Instagram.
But hey, I think
Snapchat.
yeah.
There's a lot of content developer, not content developer, like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff on Snapchat now. You can watch, like, sports events and things.
And whatever one that you guys build, I'm glad that the ads will be integrated well and right from the beginning. Good job, Verizon. I love you guys. So let's go ahead and move on to Google's self-driving cars. Oh, dang it. So this was posted by Suika. And the previous one was from Alex Goes Hi. And the original article here is from TheVerge.com. So Google is expanding their testing because their self-driving cars have been in 11 accidents, but none, according to Google, were the fault of the self-driving car.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Google claims that thanks to all of the sensors and the frequency of data collection, their self-driving cars are much more attentive than a human driver is capable
much more attentive,
of being.
I think you win no matter what.
Well, yes.
Because if you just look at polling rate, it's like, okay, you win. Apparently there's been
Hold
11
on a
accidents
second.
total.
No. I want a polling rate. Humans don't have a polling rate. This is kind of like the how many FPS can the eye see argument.
Oh my god.
No. Just hold on a second. So,
I didn't say compared to human.
Human driver. Okay,
God,
polling
you're
rate. So you're gonna
annoying.
try to. Yeah, I know, right? So human driver polling rate. Even an infinite polling rate would not technically... Well, okay, an infinite polling rate would be equivalent.
Yeah.
So anything but an infinite polling rate would not technically be higher than the polling rate of your eye or ear.
Okay.
Because it's a continuous stream.
Okay. So my point was that you have a huge amount of sensors constantly pulling in data, whereas a human like you will be eating or doing whatever else while they're driving. Are we talking polling? Not paying 100%.
Are we talking polling in data or pulling in data? So an O or a U?
Either. Polling rate.
I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
Why?
I'm just having fun. Okay, sorry, you can talk about the sensors now.
Anyways, so there's tons of different sensors and all pulling in data all the time. A big problem with car accidents is it usually happens in a momentary lapse. Like if
shoulder
this guy's
check
eating on the road, or a shoulder check. Yeah. If you shoulder check, you might not see that guy merging into your lane. If you shoulder check on the left, you might not see the guy merging into your lane who's not paying attention on your right. It might not be because you screwed up. You just couldn't currently see in that direction.
So basically, Google is solving entirely the wrong problem, and they're going about this the wrong way, because what they should really be doing is figuring out how to give us cybernetic eyes in the sides of our heads.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
That'd be so confusing, though. Imagine the first time you had it turned on.
Okay.
And you could just see, like...
No, this is a thing. So, have you heard of cochlear implants?
Yeah.
Okay. So, one of the big problems with cochlear implants is particularly for people who were born deaf, a lot of the time
they're like scared or whatever.
they
right?
still no, it's not even scared or not scared. Like they can know what's coming, but a lot of people, especially older people, they tend to want to do, and there's a huge sort of debate about the ethics of all of this stuff, because they tend to have to do it with people young in order for them to learn how to hear and how to discern speech and all of these things, because the older someone's being, especially if they were born deaf, the more difficult it is for their brain to adapt to this completely new sense. I mean, imagine...
the brain just interprets data.
That's right. And people who are deaf, I mean, they live perfectly normal, functional lives. In many cases, I mean, I'm not saying every deaf person is like the best citizen ever or anything, but I'm saying I know plenty of people who are just totally normal people. They just can't hear. And for all we know, like, think about it this way: what if you were a perfectly normal person, except you had another sense?
Normal person.
You had another.
You're using the incorrect terminology.
Well, whatever. The point is, let's say that you. Well, no. What I'm saying normal because
I know
of the point I'm trying to make. What if you thought you were like a normal person, except there was another sense in like your butt or something? Like if you had another organ there that was an entirely new sense that you'd never experienced before, that would like explode your brain. Because what would that sense even be? You'd have no concept of it.
Yeah.
People could describe like a proximity sense to you, and you'd be like, oh, okay. But the first time you walked down the street and you got close to something, you'd be like, whoa, what's going on?
Are I don't know if I'm saying it wrong or not. Are cochlear implants permanent? Like if you get one, can you not reverse it?
So here's what happens with cochlear implants, and my knowledge might be a little outdated, but the way that my understanding is that it works is they actually remove what was in there.
Well, if it wasn't working.
Well,
anyways.
some people can hear a little, like enough that if a gunshot went off, they could duck. Like even though they might have a lot of difficulty with speech.
Because you'd be able to duck fast enough.
So without your cochlear implant, if they put it in and take it out, there's nothing left. Okay. So that's one of the challenges as well.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting conversation. But if it was completely non-functioning, I don't really think it's that big of a deal.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of the thing about the deaf community is they have their own culture, and they have a cultural pride, and forcing particularly young children to have a cochlear implant for the sake of being more normal is something that and it's that normal. It's the N-word. Like, well, hold on a second. What's wrong with the way that you were made? And that's an argument that a lot of people will make. And you can look and
pretty sure I'd want to hear.
You can be pretty sure, but there's a lot of people who don't feel that way. And if they're having that decision made for them, is that really fair? And if you don't make the decision for them, well, maybe you can't make it till later on in your life, and then maybe it doesn't work as well. So it's a pretty sensitive topic. One that we're not going to...
I was just going to say, we should probably just move on.
One that we're not going to get any deeper into. It's just interesting. So anyway, there have been 11 accidents in total, all of which were minor, which Google asserts were never the fault of their car. 7 involved another vehicle rear-ending the Google car, so that's pretty much not open for debate. 2 of them were side swipes, and 1 involved another car traveling through a red light.
Interesting thing here, though, is that I have personally, and I'm sure you have as well, and I know a few other people have in the office because of stories that have been told, but avoided side swipes. Mm-hmm. You'll see someone merging into your lane, even if you're doing a shoulder check and you look back and you see them with like a tire over the line, like, oh my goodness, and you can move over. Why were there 2 side swipes? If you've got all these sensors and stuff, why were you not able to move or like honk your horn or do something to try to avoid it? Like, I want more data on the side swipes. Also with the one with another car traveling through a red light. Yeah, but one thing that they teach you in driver training school, and like, I'm not discrediting people that get sideswiped, and I'm not discrediting people that get...
sometimes it's unavoidable.
Yeah, and like, if you get T-boned in a red light, like, that's horrible. I'm not saying it's your fault at all. I'm just saying I want more information about those crashes, because if it was obviously someone coming, and a person would have scanned the intersection and been able to stop or turn off or avoid or something, then maybe that's a problem.
Bearing in mind, though, that a big part of Google's argument is that this is going to be a numbers game. And
the more of them that there are, it'll help, because another Google car wouldn't ram through a red light onto another.
And their sensors and algorithms are more attentive and less error-prone. They're not actually saying that they're perfect. There will be situations where a great driver paying a lot of attention would have happened to be looking the other way and would have been able to do like a freaking wicked like e-brake stop and that car going through the red light would have blown by them instead of hitting them. But what they're saying is that...
I'm a huge advocate for this is a lower percentage. I just want more data on those crashes.
So it's one of those things where, and this is going to be such a big debate over the next 10 to 20 years, self-driving cars will be at fault, and they will kill people at some point. It will happen. It is... Quote me on this. It's going to happen, and everyone's going to spaz. But the argument is going to be, and this is going to be no consolation to the family and friends of whoever dies in this horrible situation that is going to happen. The argument is going to be, well, I'm sorry it worked out this way for you with this, but for the for the good of the collective, everyone in general, we still need to do this. And wow, that's going to be really tough. It's easy. Super tough. It's really easy for me to say now from my safe, room in our office where I'm not getting mowed down by a self-driving car, or like, my 3-year-old son isn't getting, killed on his way home from school in our family self-driving car or something like that. It's easy for me to say, yeah, that's the right move. But once that...
I think one really interesting thing that we're going to have to deal with at some point, which I wouldn't be too surprised if it happened, is a self-driving car getting hacked in some sort of way, or a self-driving car going haywire because of some other reason, whether it's like a failure somewhere or whatnot. But if it just goes like, oh, the sidewalk is a street, time to GTA it, and just like, oh dear, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to depend on the degree to which the self-driving car screws up.
Yes, yeah.
But I mean, I even see things like where a person could have avoided it being a big one that people bring up. Like, if I'd been driving my son...
That's what I mean, though.
Would
a person
he have
would
gotten
be able
hit?
to...
Would we have gotten hit? Would he have died? And how do I live with that, for example?
Yeah.
So... Yeah. And I mean, this is a great point from... Is that Ghost putting that in there? Yeah. Good work, Ghost. What if the self-driving car has to make a decision between the life of its passenger and the life of someone else? What if swerving away from that person is going to cause it to strike a pole? Uh-oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of really nasty stuff that we're going to run into, like, for sure. I just don't know what ones we're going to run into, when, all that kind of stuff. And if it all happens kind of right at the beginning when they start selling them to consumers...
They'll set us back 50 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it will happen regardless. It's just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
didn't even think about the decision between two lives thing. That's brutal.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So Mozilla launches a new Firefox version without DRM support. So this was posted by XSilentX, and there's a number of articles on it. TechCrunch has one. So let's go ahead and pop that up so you guys can see what TechCrunch's website looks like, in case you had never been there before. And they have a Mozilla logo. That was awesome. Okay, so pretty much what's going on here is, in order to do away with sort of the aging plugin system for online video content, things like Silverlight, Adobe Flash to a much lesser extent, and make way for HTML5 as the savior of the modern multimedia covered internet, DRM is going to be a thing, whether you guys like it or not. Unless you use Firefox, apparently. So what will happen here is that services like Netflix, which are going to rely on DRM in order to be allowed, through the agreements they have with content providers, to stream video to you, services like that are going to require that you have a DRM-enabled browser. And Mozilla actually released one that supports HTML5 DRM specs. So now they have one that doesn't have it, so you can get a DRM-free version because the closed-source DRM solution didn't really jive that well with the free and open Firefox-ness sort of principles of the Mozilla Foundation. So now you can download a DRM-free version, so presumably you just won't be able to watch Netflix on it.
Yeah.
So it's more of a rapid
more
fire
and more
topic.
Things in the future, though. Netflix, other things as well. I don't know.
Expect more DRM.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be that surprised to see something like music videos on YouTube implement something like this. Anywhere where there's big money involved in the production of the content, you can bet that they're spending big money to protect it from being taken by people and stuff.
Yes.
Okay, Microsoft. Oh, what time is it? If only I knew how to read a clock. I bet you could learn that on Lynda.
You could learn how to make your own clock by programming the clock.
You actually could.
Yes.
Lynda.com is the place to learn online, aside from our show, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, we're pretty great too, but Lynda.com has experts, actual experts.
Less dick jokes.
Yeah, far fewer dick jokes. We have some people complain about the dick jokes on our show, so to them I would say, visit lynda.com/WAN Show for a 10-day free trial. You learn what you want at your own pace, whether it's photography, video editing, whether it's office applications, business, all kinds of cool stuff. And I plan start at whatever it is, $25 a month.
Yep.
And you basically just try it out for 10 days, and if it's great, then you keep on joining. And if you want to get better at your hobby, you want to kickstart a new career, boom, lynda.com. They're awesome. We love those guys. Also,
Yeah, and once you learn all your skills and how to run a business, you can jump on FreshBooks.
you're determined to do this. You know what?
I like linking them all together.
It actually works really well in this case, though.
It does.
So Freshbooks is a cloud-based online tool for pretty much managing yourself. So if you run a business, let's say you're a plumber, for example. I always use that example. Okay, I'll come up with a different example. Let's say you're a vigilante, for example, and you want to go ahead and you want to log your hours. Let's say you're a vigilante who has like a dirty cop, paying him on the side, but you want to make sure that, you're getting your invoices sent out accurately and on time. You want to make sure that cop is paying by credit card online so that okay, that's a terrible example too. Okay, what is FreshBooks? Okay, FreshBooks is the way, if you're self-employed, to spend more time running your business and less time...
Your proper legal business.
Yes, your actual legal
so that you
business.
can track things properly.
An actual business, not fighting people like Batman. And less time dealing with accounting nonsense. So, for example, you can log your hours in it. You can enter information like your rates. You can submit invoices to your customers via email. You can see that they got them, which is critical, and then you can make it so they can pay by credit card, because making it easy for people to pay you is a huge part of removing the barrier to getting paid, which puts the money back into your pockets to keep reinvesting in your business and help you grow. So check it out at freshbooks.com/WAN and enter WAN Show in the How Did You Hear About Us section, and you also get a free trial. I actually don't know how long their free trial is. I think it's 2 weeks, I want to say.
I'm not entirely sure.
But yeah, try it out if you're running your own business. Also, finally, and this one's going to be fun. I always have fun with these. Okay, so I think there are notes on Loot Crate, but just to make Nick come in here all upset and butthurt in a couple minutes.
There's one that I think you'll be super excited about, actually. But
Okay.
I'll let you run into it.
So this, my friends, is the April Loot Crate. Although we should say that the May Crate theme will be Unite, apparently, with a bunch of exclusive stuff. But this is the Fantasy Crate. I don't know if Loot Crate's interpretation of my fantasies would actually be appropriate.
Right when you said the Fantasy Crate, I was like, oh dear.
Well, this is about 8 inches long and black.
Oh, wow.
Also square, which is odd.
That would be kind of physically unfortunate.
And, cardboard paper cuts are kind of a bitch.
Oh my god, and there too, they'd probably get infected.
Okay, so what does this say? Document, share, enjoy. There's a map with a sword on it, so I already know that this is going to go well. You know what? I'm actually wearing a shirt from a previous Loot Crate right now, so I'm going to make it part of the process. I'm going to change into my new Loot Crate shirt. Wait a second, I'm not allowed to show my nipples on Twitch, so I think it's against the rules. Yes, thank you. Thank you for being my change room. You can watch if you want. The hero always looks.
The hero always looks. That's true.
Oops. Okay, alright, so I got my new Loot Crate shirt.
Do you know what it is?
I'm kind of an idiot.
I'm pretty sure it's...
No!
Yes, it is.
Way!
Yep, that's what I knew you were going to be excited
Oh,
about. No,
sick.
this is
Yeah,
Dungeons
no,
and Dragons.
this I'm not that excited about. Princess Bride playing cards.
I knew you'd be stoked for that. Yeah.
Oh. As you freaking wish, man. I love that movie. I wonder if they have a bunch of... Seriously, man. Andre the Giant, taken from us too young.
Yeah.
Oh, these are actually pretty nice, too. They're not crappy cards.
There's noticeably differences between crappy and good cards. That's
oh
cool.
my goodness, that Joker card, man! Oh, it's a Dungeon Keeper, and we've got the ROUS Joker card as well. Oh, I'm loving this. Okay, what else we got in here?
I knew you'd be stoked for that. I love how it took you completely.
Black tie geek
thing.
bow tie, just in
is
case. You need one of those? Oh, this is an Okay.
I'll work on this.
You work on that. What else we got? Game of Thrones Stark Sigil USB flash drive. How'd they pull that off? That's awesome. It's probably not very high capacity. Like, I'll be surprised. You know what? I have a computer here. Let's find out. So that's what it'll look like plugged into your computer. And I'll let you guys know how big it is. 4 gigs. So big enough for a Windows OS. There you go. Can I help you? No way.
It's a crown.
Okay, so we've got a Harry Potter station or platform 9 3/4 sign. I'm liking that. Wow, I'm actually getting most of the references these days. Now, the thing is that I'm not that into Game of Thrones. I have read the first book, but I refuse to read the rest of the books until George R.R. Martin gets off of his butt and writes the last couple. And then I refuse to watch the show until I've read all the books, because that's how I roll. So it'll be a long time before a lot of things. But I mean, I know what Winter is Coming is all about. So these are Game of Thrones magnets with the house sigils.
Did you already check this out?
Yes. We've got a pin. So, Fantasy Loot Crate pin. And finally, their usual, magazine thing. Oh, yeah, right there. Opens with As You Wish. Loving that. Oh, that's great. No offense. And as much as I haven't seen Game of Thrones, yeah, it'll never hold a candle to Princess Bride, sorry.
Princess Bride's fantastic. I can't believe they went the Princess Bride route. You know, every dad that bought their kid Loot Crate got this one and was like, yep, I'll take that, you can have the rest of it, cool.
Yeah, dog. So apparently this is a D&D t-shirt, so that's why I didn't catch.
I think I told you.
Not much of a D&D guy.
I might have brushed over it.
Oh man, Princess Bride playing cards, I'm loving that. Alright, so lootcrate.com, code Linus to save 10%, which given how inexpensive these loot crates are is actually not that meaningful unless you sign up for a year or something. So definitely to get the most out of your 10% off, sign up for a year. Yeah. Don't just do one crate, because they're what, $15 or something like that?
I think, isn't it on here?
I don't remember. They're not that expensive.
They're relatively cheap. Yeah. How much you get, it's the cost of just the shirt.
So basically you're saving $1.50 if you use our code and you only buy one loot crate. So sign up for the subscription and
this is a nice, it's actually kind of nice.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's bulky, which
it is bulky, but it looks
not my
cool.
favorite thing, but it looks cool. And if you're just
I'm sure
plugging
you
it into your
could
laptop,
thread something through the teeth and then keep it on your keychain.
That'd be cool.
That'd be pretty sweet.
All right, so let's move on to our next topic then, shall we?
All right.
It's funny, he's always the one that remembers
1337.
Sponsors now.
I am.
All right, Microsoft reveals Windows 10 editions.
Oh, jeez.
They're plated in gold.
No, only the Windows 10 edition is plated in gold.
edition. Sorry, that's pretty funny. Okay, do you want to handle this and I'll inflate my crown? Because you're wearing one, I want to wear one too.
Oh dear, it doesn't take that long, which is nice compared to all the other inflatable stuff we've been doing lately. But okay, so the main... I meant for channel.
Wow! You shouldn't tell them about that. Okay, go ahead.
So, okay, there's Windows 10 Home, Windows 10 Mobile, Windows 10 Pro, Windows 10 Enterprise, Windows 10 Education, Windows 10 Mobile Enterprise, and I thought there might have been one more, but we'll just go with that. And I'm going to jump to the actual Windows website, because our notes here are kind of balls. So, moving forward. I hope I posted this in the chat. I'm going to post it again, so if that's a troll, I'm sorry. So, Windows 10 Home is pretty much exactly what you'd expect. What they're listing here is stuff like Cortana, Windows Hello Face Recognition, fingerprint login, the Microsoft Edge web browser, mail, calendar, maps, photos, all the things that kind of just come with Windows. Yeah, not a ton of extra stuff, but you do get stuff like the Xbox Live gaming community, if you care about that at all.
it's there for you. So it has that, I guess. And yeah, that's about it.
Can I jump in and ask why code names are always so much cooler than the actual product name? Why did they rename it Edge? They should have just called it Spartan.
Yeah.
That would have been so
is that
badass.
Actually, is that Spartan? It's called Edge now?
I think so.
That's really disappointing.
Yeah.
All right, anyways, moving on.
So what's douchier? Sunglasses or
no,
an inflatable
put the crown
crown
on and then wear the sunglasses.
Oh, that could work.
Oh my god.
The world's coolest king ever.
One of my crown things is all derpy.
Sorry, Chrome crashed, or I'd be showing you guys the Windows blog page right now. It's making me unhappy.
Anyways, Windows 10 Pro is for PCs and tablets and 2-in-1s, as I'm sure Windows 10 Normal is as well. Anyways, so it builds on top of that. It also includes Windows Update for Business, which allows you to kind of peer-to-peer share Windows updates, decide when they go out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. You can decide when the updates go out. So if you're like, oh, well, we're kind of mission critical at like 4 p.m., so no. You can do it to your entire network at a specified time later on, which, like, that's not super new. But it's probably easier to set up now, I'm assuming. So that's cool. Because it's more centralized, I guess. That's nice. I like the peer-to-peer sharing one. There's some other stuff for Windows Update Business, but those are the main parts. Yeah, then there isn't a huge difference between those two. Then there's Windows 10 Mobile, which is essentially for phones. And it's just more... It's better for touch. There's a touch version of Office, which is nice. And if you plug it into a large format monitor, it will, what is it called? Continuum for phone, which makes it turn into basically just a PC experience. So that you could have a large format monitor and everything would be fine. Moving on to Windows 10 Enterprise, there's some other stuff like long-term servicing branch support. Yeah, volume licensing, other things that are probably not super interesting.
Yeah, most of the stuff people won't really care too much about.
Yeah.
Who are watching this show.
It's not super interesting. So, you're probably fine with Home, which has been the story since forever.
Unless you want remote desktop connection, in which case you can get Pro. Yay!
Or if you want to, like, peer-to-peer share Windows updates with your roommate.
Yeah, which makes absolutely no sense at all. So I can't get Chrome back open, so you're on point for the next one too.
Cool. All right. So moving on. Oh, also I wanted to add that apparently there's like certain specific games being included with it, like Candy Crush Saga.
Oh yeah, that's been making the rounds lately. So okay, there's two ways to look at this. Number one is, does Microsoft really need whatever payout King Games is giving them to include this stupid game with the operating system? And perspective number two
does it really matter because it's going to take up like no space at all,
and you can uninstall it. Is it any different from including Minesweeper? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I would argue that since it actually has a microtransaction...
Doesn't Minesweeper now?
Shut up.
Or you have to like... Oh.
No!
No, what's up with Minesweeper on Windows 8? Try to launch it. It's not there, right? And then you have to get it from the store.
Minesweeper. Results for Minesweeper. Really? Do they not include it?
Yeah, and then I think you have to like buy it, or you can only play it a certain amount of times and you have to refill your credits or something. I don't remember how it works, but Minesweeper on above Windows 7 is super weird. And then even like I don't think Windows 7 has Minesweeper.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh,
okay,
no, you have to turn it on or something. Like, it's not a default feature.
So the point is this really any different, and should we really be concerned about it?
Someone in chat's going to correct me.
I personally think it's a crappy direction for them to be going. I think that including their own first-party games that don't have microtransactions is probably fine, but this is exactly the same kind of crap that I thought Microsoft was trying to fight against by encouraging their PC makers to ship clean Windows, and that they were setting a good example for with the Surface Pro line, not including any bloatware. This just seems to fly in the face of the direction that pretty much everything else is going. I mean, Apple doesn't ship a bunch of bloat. Even Android is moving away from shipping a bunch of bloat. Even like some of the worst Android offenders, like Samsung, are moving away from shipping bloat with their operating systems. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I sure wish that this would do things. That would be great. Thanks.
I don't remember what it is with Minesweeper on Windows 8, but it has like a 4.7 out of 10 rating. So something's going on that I don't think the chat is entirely aware of. And I remember trying to play it and there was really weird crap going on in Windows 8. But anyways, in Windows 7, you're right, chat, it is enabled, but exactly how I said, you have to go and turn it on. So, yeah. Anyways.
Okay, so
forward.
let's move on to our next topic, shall we?
FTC rules in favor of Tesla direct-to-consumer sales. They're saying it's legal, but it's not entirely through yet. The FTC will have a lot of sway.
Yeah.
But the conversation is not over. I was under the impression that the conversation was over and it was fine, and then there was an update to the article, which I don't know if it was actually this one, but there was an update being like, whoa, actually it's not. The FTC is just kind of approving it, and then other things have to happen.
Right.
But it's moving along, which is good.
So Goodbytes posted the Windows 10 edition stuff. Silberdrachi posted the Tesla bit. So here's a quote from the FTC. A fundamental principle of competition is that consumers, not regulation, should determine what they buy and how they buy it, the FTC said. Consumers may benefit from the ability to buy cars directly from manufacturers, whether they are shopping for luxury cars or economy vehicles. The same competition principles should apply in either case. This is a great show of common sense. The original article here is from techdrive.co, and it's refreshing to see sensible quotes coming from stuff that's all has emblems that are blue and white and have America written all over them. So,
Well, Canada hasn't really been doing much better lately. Anyways.
no, that is a tremendously good point. But it's refreshing to see our neighbors to the south figuring it out, because
Yes.
usually we just follow whatever they
Yes.
do. It just takes us a while.
Yep, that's very true. So yeah, there's not really a ton to say here. It's moving along, which is super good,
Yeah.
but it's not finalized, so we can't really start the party yet, I guess.
All right.
Scientists have invented a quadrillion FPS camera, also known as a 1 trillion FPS camera.
Yeah, that first number was nothing.
It was awesome.
It was absolutely nothing. This was
But
posted
it was
by
super cool.
Prashant Nani X, and the original article here is from Science Alert. Japanese scientists, a new trillion frame per second camera. So it can capture events occurring at 45,000 kilometers per second. Wow.
There's some limitations. Like last August, it could only capture 6 frames per shot. So it was basically done immediately. And they're hoping to reach 100. So it will still be done immediately.
But it'll allow them to observe events like biological processes in far more detail than
super cool.
before. Very, very cool. So this is more than 1,000 times faster than a conventional high-speed camera. So let's have a look at what else they think is really interesting about this. That is really cool. So
Apparently each color, each separate color flash can be analyzed by stringing them together, a moving picture, blah, blah, blah. So they split each thing. How does it go?
Here.
The technology works by splitting a single light pulse into a fast barrage of rainbow-colored smaller pulses, and then they analyze those individual pulses. Insane.
So there's
Things I
another
don't
imaging
understand.
technique apparently known as the pump probe method. I'm not an expert on high-speed imaging, so there you
Nope,
go.
neither of us are.
So this can capture frames faster than stamp, but it can only capture one frame at a time. So, yeah. So they're working towards 25 frames per shot right now. Last August they were at 6. They hope to reach 100. So just to put that in perspective, 100 frames would be what? 1/10 billionth of a second of actual time that they're capturing? Hold on, I'm probably doing that wrong. No, I think that's right. Yeah, 1/10 billionth of a second is all they can capture at a time. So they better get the timing of this thing freaking right.
Exactly.
They better not be like our camera people, just, pushing the shutter button like whenever. Like, yeah, whatever, bro. They press it. Oh, what? We missed it? Oh, I guess that's too bad. I guess we'll, figure out getting this whole apparatus set up again. Thanks for that, jackass. No, they're going to need to be pretty precise about
When
this
did
whole
this?
thing.
I have a feeling you're tying this into something.
Oh, no, nothing happened.
The thing?
I just troll these guys. Yeah, no, it's
okay.
fine. So the new Konami CEO, this was posted by Boozoo, and maybe there was some booze involved. Probably not.
No.
You probably got a point. But
Yeah.
original article here is from Polygon. So new Konami CEO says mobile gaming is the future, and AAA will not be as much of an emphasis. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun. Not surprising. I don't know.
Yeah.
Lots of people are spending money on microtransactions on phone games. I will never get it. I will never like it. I will never understand.
And I will never do it.
This is why I play retro games still. I think part of the problem with all the money's in mobile games is that people are making junk and just terrible releases for full-featured games.
Yep.
When was the last time you were really excited for a game release?
Well, it's hard to get me excited these days. Like, I never got into GTA. Or I would have been probably really excited for GTA 5.
Realistically, that came out like a year and a half ago, though.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, so not on a platform that mattered, though, to be
Yes,
perfectly frank.
true. Yeah.
Not on a platform that I actually am going to play games on. So, wow, gee. I don't know, the last AAA game I really, really enjoyed was probably Tomb Raider 2013.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I thought it was a great game. It lacked certain things that older games had. There wasn't really a lot of exploration to it. There's like 3 tombs.
Yeah.
Aside from just like story mission tombs, and like I think there was like some kind of game mode that by the time I played it had been shut down or something like that. Like there's some pretty stupid stuff, but I don't know. I thought it was really good. I definitely enjoyed it. I'm just trying to think. Like,
I see a lot of people in chat saying Witcher 3, but like, little scared for that game. Have you seen all the crap going around?
Yeah, it's kind
God.
of shaping up to be like Watch Dogs Junior in some ways. Like, not to nearly the same extent as Watch Dogs, but we're already discovering they dumbed it down. So
it's not out yet. We'll see once it's out.
We'll see how console porty it is. You think?
I'm sure we'll end up benching it.
Is CD Projekt Red smart enough and troll enough
To just release it as the full-featured one that they announced a long time ago?
to pretend that they're pulling a Ubisoft and dumbing it down
And then just not do
and
it.
then not do that? Are they troll enough?
Wow. We should ask Pasha. Pasha Biceps. Are they troll enough? I don't know. I don't know. That'd be really cool. I'm just largely ignoring it until it comes out.
Yep.
I just want it to actually come out.
So anyway, a little bit more from the interview.
All I know is that I used to pre-order games quite a bit, and I was never dissatisfied. And
Right.
in the last long time, I've stopped pre-ordering games, to be honest.
Yep.
And it ended up being everything that I pre-ordered was a disappointment. Not like a few things.
You
everything.
pre-ordered Assassin's Creed, that one that you hated, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the end.
Yeah. Okay.
Creed
So
3.
some more quotes. Yeah, there were a couple you hated actually.
Yeah.
just to clarify, this one that I hated. We will pursue mobile games aggressively. Our main platform will be mobiles, following the pay-as-you-play model of existing games. Our games must move from selling things like items to selling things like features. We saw with those games that even people who buy physical games are motivated to buy extra content. The success of our current mobile game, Power Pro especially, has motivated us to actively push more of our popular series onto mobile than ever before. We hope that our overseas games, such as Metal Gear Solid 5 and Winning 11, continue to do well, but we are always thinking about how to push our franchises into mobile there too. Wow, that is like the single most depressing interview ever.
Yeah, there's been other full-featured game companies that have bailed out to mobile, though. Like, I don't know. I don't think they're speaking entirely on behalf of the whole gaming industry. They're just speaking on behalf of themselves and probably a lot of other companies. I don't know. I will never be into phone games. I've tried a bunch of them, and they're just all garbage.
I used to actually play a lot more mobile games than I do now. Like that.
The Jetpack Joyride thing.
Used to be able to play. No, not just that. Like Army of Darkness, I played through the whole thing till the end. Just trying to think of some other ones that I got reasonably into.
I haven't enjoyed pretty much any. I've had some people suggest some. I will probably try it again in the future.
I finished Reaper. Reaper's a lot of fun to play with a controller. Totally horrible on touchscreen controls, but on the Shield, it was actually really fun. Just a stupid, brainless hack and slash.
If I'm
really
gonna play on a Shield, though, I'd probably just play a full-featured game off my PC.
Reaper's a good toilet game because you can just play one level and then peace out. So that was a big part of the reason I played it. Yeah. Wow. Okay, Oculus releases recommended system specs for the upcoming CV or consumer version 1 Rift, and they have confirmed the resolution. So this was posted by Wii Maniac on the forum, and here is the post on the Oculus.com blog. So what else? So you want to run through the recommended specs there?
Yes, I'm just trying to work on getting the
GTX 970 for one thing.
GTX 970 and an R9 290. This has been something that I've been kind of preaching about for a long time, is that you need a hardcore system.
This is a rich boy's toy, my friends.
Yes, exactly. And that's it. Doesn't end there. i5 4590 equivalent or greater. Like, you need good stuff. And the thing is, this is recommended specs. Not super high-end specs. Like, I can guarantee you right now, there's going to be games that are going to need a lot more than that.
Yep.
Because you need, have they talked about hertz? Yeah, so you need 90 FPS at 2160 by 1200 consistently. So you need above 90 FPS at 2160 by 1200. Good luck on a lot of different high graphics games. Like, oh my god, that's not easy to do.
Okay, we've got people in the chat upset about it, and upset at Oculus about it. No,
not at all.
Nothing to do with Oculus.
No.
This has to do with Oculus being realistic about the way that they're presenting the requirements for gaming on this platform to their customers. The Oculus doesn't want people buying this thing with their, I'll pick on something, 5770, and expecting to have a good gaming experience.
It stutters and I get sick. Oh, Oculus sucks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's how demanding the game is and the frame rate that you need to run at to have a good VR experience that is prompting them to release these out of this world recommended system specs. So they want a high-end quad core, 8 gigs plus of RAM, HDMI 1.3, and a 970 or AMD 290 equivalent or greater. In order to, and I would guess that this is sort of along the lines of what would give you a good experience playing something like Eve Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Based on that.
Or a lot of it's black space.
Yeah. If you're going to want to be playing, something like Grand Theft Auto 5 or Skyrim with a whack ton of mods on or something like that, good luck.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really, really hard.
That's basically all we have to say about that.
Yep. And, the thing is, for people that are going to get mad, they need to get these specs up there so that they can push higher resolution panels and whatnot so it actually looks good, doesn't make you feel sick, and is worthwhile even doing at all. It's an important thing to think about.
On the subject of Witcher 3, Carol Kareen posted this.
Witcher 3.
Did I say Richard 3?
I don't know. I heard that.
Sorry. Witcher 3. Carol Kareen posted on our forum. This is from reddit.com/Witcher. R/Witcher, I guess, is the way that people would normally say that. I've left out the R. I'm sorry. R/Witcher. Reviews have apparently gone up a week before release, and there's nothing lower than 8 out of 10, with Kotaku rating it yes.
That's cool.
With that said, that doesn't... Well, look at this. Games Radar, 4 out of 5. I dearly hope that the Day Zero patch eliminates the technical issues. It's literally the first line.
Also known as, there's nothing else interesting right now. Please read our article. We rated it really high.
That's another really interesting perspective, because a lot of people will talk about how the game companies must be paying the press to give a good game review. And you know what? I'm sure there are cases of that. But the way that it actually works is going to be a lot more complicated than that. It's going to be, hey, we're running a giant campaign with you to advertise for Witcher 3, and in most cases, an editor is not going to be blatant enough to tell a reviewer, give it a good review. It's going to be more of like an unspoken thing. But aside from the whole paid for reviews thing, remember, these guys don't get paid anything if people aren't reading the reviews. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get people to read your reviews. You could be like Yahtzee over at The Escapist. You can make them entertaining, if not informative. You can be controversial, like that ridiculous thing, I can't remember what site it was on, about the Shadow of Mordor scene where you learn your sneak attack by kissing the white. Well, exactly.
I thought you were talking about...
stirring up controversy.
Star Wars Battle... something. The one that's coming out.
Battlefront.
Yeah. I always want to say Battlefield. They're so similar. Anyways, Star Wars Battlefront coming out with IGN being like, there's no need to worry. Actually, we're really worried. In 2 different videos. Like,
except not in that order.
Yeah.
So you can be controversial, or you can have an article that says the game is really great, so when someone's going and looking for an excuse to buy it, because come on, let's face it, that's how we buy things. We look for someone to tell us we're making a good decision. That's what we want to hear. So
you think something's bad, you'll Google blah, 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 blah issues. And you think something's good, you'll be like, top 5
features of The Witcher 3. Yeah.
Like, it's a thing.
Is The Witcher 3 worth buying? And, the top one, of course, is going to be yes.
Yeah.
So that's actually a really good point is, what's in it for these reviewers giving it a good score? Should we pre-order it based on that the reviews are up?
I don't like scores ever at all.
At least they gave out review copies.
Yep.
That's better than some other folks are doing these days. At least the reviewers even got a crack at it before it was available.
And it's really rare that people allow reviews to go out before release at all anyways. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because usually it would go out on day of release so that all the pre-order guys already spent their money.
Yeah, so that's been the trend lately. So this is definitely better, but I would still wait for user reviews. Do you really need to play Witcher 3 1 week early? You've waited this long. I mean, I guess if you're into having the experience at the same time as your buddies...
Yep. I understand wanting it right away. I'm going to wait.
I get it.
I have enough backlog that it doesn't matter. So, whatever. I guess I won't wait, because we're going to benchmark it.
Goodbytes posted in the forum that Microsoft has released... Remember that super cool video stabilization thing they were doing? Yeah. They have released Hyperlapse. This is freaking awesome. I think you have to apply for the beta. Yeah, we really need to. You have to apply for the beta on Android, I believe, as well as Windows Phone. Can't remember what all the rules are. Some of them you have to apply, some of them you can just download it. But pretty much you can take crappy camera footage and turn it into like this super smooth... this page isn't loading very well, but I hope you get the point.
I want to do it with a GoPro. I want to go on a hike with a GoPro and then hyperlapse the whole hike.
Man, that looks cool. So it uses really advanced processing to turn the scene into like a 3D model, and then it uses that to stabilize it instead of the sort of the more reactive correction that more traditional shaky cam reduction techniques have used. Very, very cool stuff. Apparently works with phone footage, GoPro footage. I really want to try it out now that it's out. That just dropped today, if I recall correctly.
That's cool. I'm going to sign up for that beta.
Corsair has 128 gig DDR4 memory kits. How much are they going to cost you? If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Yep.
Over $1,000. RAM for the rich and nerdy, says the PCWorld.com article. So they have them up to 2666 megahertz, I want to say. Kingston is saying their upcoming big-ass set will hit speeds of 3,000 megahertz. So what could you want to do with something like this? Oh, I don't know. You could create a 100 gigabyte RAM drive with 28 gigs left for system memory. I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. Here we go. The cheaper of the two is just shy of $2,000, with the more expensive 2666 kit running you $2,120. I believe G-Skill is working on something as well, but with them I think it was 64 gig 4-stick kits, whereas these are 128 gig 8-stick kits from Corsair and Kingston. So I've already reached out to Corsair for a sample. I really doubt we'll get to keep
I
that
was
sample.
just gonna say they're either probably gonna say no, or you can have it for like 4 days.
Yeah, and then send it to someone else to talk, because there's nothing to really cover about it. You're gonna put it in a system. You're gonna be like, "Yup."
The number of recognized RAM is very high.
Yup. And
Hooray!
yeah. Moving on, and it won't even be the first time we've put 128 gigs of RAM in a system. We have one downstairs right now with 128 gigs of RAM in it. What's interesting about this is the fact that it's unbuffered memory, and it works on a consumer platform with a consumer-grade CPU, rather than being like an ECC registered server gym.
Yeah.
I had one other topic that I posted somewhere down below. This is a rumor, and this is in the rejected pile, but I just thought it was funny. Sam Fisher posted it on the forum. Netflix reportedly planning Top Gear revival called House of Cars. There is no confirmation that if they went after Clarkson and his crew, which right now it's up in the air, they could be negotiating with anyone. It is rumored that Netflix is negotiating with them. I really doubt they would call it House of Cars. That would be...
I really freaking hope they would.
Pretty much the stupidest thing ever.
I would still watch it. But I really hope they
House
would.
of Cars. And this just dropped today as well. You can tour Razer's flagship store, the first of many, according to Min Tan, CEO. So it has a very Apple Store, Microsoft Store kind of vibe, and much like those other stores, it's pretty much a one-stop shop for everything Razer. You can get hands-on with pretty much any of their products.
That's cool.
Very cool concept. 2 years ago, you would have told me Razer has a retail store, and I would have said, what would they need a retail store for? They could, like, you could put it in a closet. Here's the wall of mice, here's the wall of keyboards, and here's the trash bin out back with the headsets that you probably shouldn't buy. Whereas now, they're getting to the point where they have enough really cool technology and enough accessories to go with it that you can kind of go, oh yeah, crap, I guess I kind of get it.
The
like
trash
you can,
bin might still be there.
Yeah, the headsets I'm still not a huge fan of, and Min knows that, but, you know, whatever. There's a lot of stuff that you could show off in a store like this that might not even necessarily run on Razer's own hardware, but is their technology. Razer Comms, for example.
Yeah.
They could have, you know, like a little, like, you know, LAN setup.
I was just going to say, like, a 4x4, which even looks like they could be doing, just constantly set up with the headsets that they have right there. So you could have a little mini LAN.
So they could be showing off their software technology. They could be showing off their streaming technology on the Forge console.
If you could, like, book time for, like, little gaming tournaments and stuff in there. I don't know.
So they're apparently allowing fans to vote. Although, realistically, I mean, they're smart people. They probably already have a roadmap for where they want to launch stores. But they're apparently letting fans vote on where they want to see stores next. And, these guys really do look like they're on the fast track to kicking a whole ton of ass. I don't like everything they do, but as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of the Blade 14 notebook in particular. Really love a lot of the other stuff that they've done. Not a big fan of some of the other stuff that they've done, but you can't deny that they are a marketing juggernaut, and the brand recognition that they have for what would have been a completely niche business, gaming peripherals, 5 or 10 years ago, is absolutely incredible. So good on them. Good on them for figuring out a way to take their brand to the next level. And these boutique stores seem to be, starting with Apple, the way that brands are doing this these days. So there's actually a video where Min shows you around the store. So I haven't actually watched it yet. I was just checking out some pictures of it. They actually apparently had to shut down the mall because there were so many people that it was a safety concern.
Wow.
Lined up to go to the Razer store in Taiwan.
Holy cow.
These guys are so good at presentation.
Yeah, they are.
Like, this stuff does not look like this when it's on my desk. It's like jewelry shopping.
It's low light in that specific area. It looks really cool.
Like, it's like jewelry shopping. The color temperature of the light they use to illuminate the diamonds is specifically chosen to make them sparkle better. Like, it's down to a freaking science, and Razer is really, really good at that stuff.
Yeah.
So, there you go. That's what the store looks like, give or take 2 or 2.5 minutes of video or so. Yes. So I guess, did you have anything else? I'm pretty much done. That was all I wanted to talk about today. Yeah. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. We love the WAN Show, especially when you guys watch. I guess finals must be over because there are 6,500 of you watching live. Thank you. You're all awesome.
It's so hot.
It is really hot in here, even though the window's open. We need that cross breeze.
Yes.
I can't wait to move into the new office. We're like 6 to 8 weeks away, though, guys. It's like not happening soon.
No.
And we have no space here. We might have to do another U-Haul just to clear up enough space.
We might have to do like more than one.
Yeah, there's like a lot of...
Oh,
crap
just to
still
clear up
here.
enough space.
Yeah, to like survive here.
Yeah.
No, I think we'll have to do multiple U-Hauls to the new
Yeah.
place.
I thought you meant like to move us. I was like, dude, that wasn't even that much stuff at all.
No.
That barely made a dent.
And like a big problem is we're not going to be able to make very efficient use of the U-Haul because so much of what we have has no packaging or protection. So like unless someone's literally riding in the back, like holding things in place, that's not happening.
Channel Super Fun?
No!
Channel Super
That's
Fun.
not fun. That's dangerous and illegal. We've never done anything illegal on Channel
We've
Super
done
Fun.
stuff that's dangerous. What did you
All
just
right,
film?
thanks for tuning into the WAN Show. Oh,
It
what?
didn't work! I knew it! I knew it! I win! I win the game of this thing is super broken.
You win nothing.
At least I don't have small foot. I'm dead though, so take that as you will. Whoa. Squish the stars. It like pumps up the rest of the thing.
Some of us are actually working right now.
Linda! Freshbooks! Lucre!